Hello guys, welcome back in Goku Manhwa. Let's continue.
Mitchell inside the station clutched a ticket in his palm as he stared blankly at the platform. His mind slipped back to a memory when he once dragged Lian out while she pleaded for him not to be harsh. She explained it was all confusion, yet her excuses only deepened his fury. He recalled how he pressed her against the fence, asking what nonsense she meant by confusion and daring her to stop deceiving herself. He had told her coldly that aside from him, no one else in this world would ever truly stand beside her. The memory then changed to a gentler moment when Mara admitted that she felt anxious, confessing that surely many women secretly admired him. Mitchell had scoffed bitterly, asking who would ever be drawn to a man who spent his nights wandering across dim alleys. He had assured her there was nothing to fear. But Mara with striking certainty said she could not believe that because in her eyes he was genuinely extraordinary. Those words reached his heart. When she begged him not to speak that way and wrap her arms around him fiercely, Mitchell had felt alive again. Even if it was not her, the truth that someone cherished him reminded him he was still human. He remembered Mara clinging to him as she wept, begging him never to disappear. In those moments, Mitchell believed he could simply discard Lian whenever he wished, which was why he thought their bond meant far more to her. Whenever reality weighed heavily, they lost themselves in each other, finding comfort in their broken closeness. Even if the entire world despised Kang Mikkel, he believed Lian would never forsake him. And that belief alone held him together. Yet his mind soured as he pictured Jeren Dao with Lian. The vision of her crying out with desire, pleading for more from Dao, while Dao smirked proudly, made Mikkel tremble. The image pierced through him as he snapped out of it, convincing himself that such a thing was impossible. He told himself that Lian would never be capable of betraying him. The present Lian messaged him asking where he had gone since he had disappeared for half the day without saying anything, for which Mitchell replied he needed to handle an errand. As she pressed further, warning that she would grow angry, Mitchell thought he should just ignore it as he was exhausted from explaining. When Mitchell stepped into a small bookstore, he called out if anyone was there, for which the keeper asked why he was coming inside since it was not business hours yet. Mitchell explained he was not there to buy, only hoping to inquire about something. He asked about Mara, mentioning she had worked there in the past. The keeper told him to wait, saying it came back to him, then admitted he had indeed seen that woman. He asked why Mitchell searched for her there, explaining she had not worked there for over 3 years, and asked if she had ever mentioned where she was heading next, or even the name of another place. The man questioned Mitchell's purpose, asking who he was to be chasing after her. Mitchell hesitated as no words came. The keeper scoffed, saying he could not even give a proper answer. When Mitchell demanded to know if he had information, the keeper stated he knew nothing, and even if he did, he would never reveal it. He asked why he should tell some stranger who had barged inside demanding details about that woman. She was constantly trailed by creditors and rough men, and he figured Mitchell was no different from them. So he shouted for him to leave as he shoved him and demanded that he stop lingering and get out. Mitchell struck the counter and asked who was shielding who. He dared the man, telling him if he had a voice then to speak it already, declaring he was not one of those men. He declared that he was in fact her husband. Later at the station, the clerk apologized, saying that receiving a permit was going to be extremely difficult. Mitchell was stunned as he had never thought it would be this harsh. But truth revealed itself harsher than he imagined. As he stepped out of the station, he thought even in this pit of despair, Lian always trusted there would be brighter days. He recalled Lian cautioning him never to rely on strangers for dangerous favors. Mikkel scoffed as he wondered if she was hopelessly blind or simply foolish. Or perhaps not. Kang Mikkel had carried himself there knowing everything and still decided to endure only to trust her voice, and that made him the greater fool. He could not confess it to Lian, but the people who would truly offer chances to men like them only lived inside the pit. Likely because he was depending on Mara's savings and staying at her place. He had a small amount of wages put aside, but it was nothing more than a worthless few notes. Like a stray. It was insufficient. And considering how they were hiding away at home, those men were utterly determined. Yet if he gathered from every corner, he could pull together more. Mitchell once recalled asking companions if Lian was really so striking. One replied she was only a village girl who pretended to be meek. Others remarked she was somewhat pretty, yet beauty never filled one's hunger. Mitchell thought that at the academy she might have been the loveliest among them. But one of them mentioned she had remained in college for years and was still entangled with Mitchell. Another agreed it was strange, saying she had even appeared at the campus recently. She insisted she would wait until he enrolled, which made things messy. They whispered about her bike, asking if anyone had seen her ride up on a sport model, and if her brother was wealthy, then Kang Mikkel was truly fortunate. They asked how he always found fortune with women. Another warned him not to call her plain. He laughed it aside, saying if he was so envious, he should court her himself instead of Kang Mikkel. They chuckled as Mikkel's companions saw him talking closely with Leanne and noticed her glowing smile. He dismissed it as nonsense, believing she was not attractive at all. Later, while Mikkel labored at a workshop, a man arrived and asked if he was preparing for an upcoming test, wondering why he was wasting time there. Mikkel answered that he was preparing. The man told him to think of something else as the tests were near. Mikkel replied he already had enough grades to qualify. The person sneered, saying he knew how to argue, but he still had to finish school, secure honest work, and prove he could support a family. He asked the name of the girl Mitchell was seeing. Mitchell asked why he was sneaking around him and why he was prying with useless questions anyway. The elder grabbed his collar briefly to make him gasp. While Mitchell promised not to worry as he was leaving, he had already stored away more than